A controversial star is set for WrestleMania this weekend, and a huge new star is said to be All Elite. But first, let's go to a story regarding some potential backstage heat on a top AEW wrestler. According to Fightful Select, AEW president Tony Khan has taken issue with a recent interview where MJF appeared on the Ariel Helwani show last week. During the chat, MJF would continue to tease a jump to WWE when his contract expires in 2024. The interview apparently led to a heated discussion between the two men, although the problem wasn't the subject of MJF teasing a move to WWE. The issue seems to have stemmed from the fact that MJF didn't run the interview by the AEW PR team to get permission, which is standard practice for talent in the company. In an update from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, the issue is now apparently settled and there was no fight or physical altercation between MJF and Khan. This was followed up by a fresh report from Fightful which stated both men had a follow-up conversation on Monday, a talk that went much smoother the second time around. It was noted that MJF is frustrated with his current AEW contract, which expires on January 1st, 2024, whilst Khan is worried that the interview could set a precedent for wrestlers to do unauthorized interviews going forward if it isn't stamped out. The two men are said to have formed a good relationship since the start of AEW, and things have now calmed down. And before we continue, I just want to quickly mention our latest list video where we look at 10 things you didn't know about AEW's Hook. So make sure you go and watch that after this video if you haven't already. Next up, let's go down to Mexico as a top tag team has been announced for AAA's biggest show of the year. During a press conference on Tuesday afternoon, it was revealed that the Hardy Boys will be appearing on the second Triplemania 30 event on June 18th in Tijuana, Mexico. Matt and Jeff are scheduled to take on former Ring of Honor star Dragon Lee and former CMLL star Dralistico. Both men are real-life brothers, much like the Hardys. The Hardy Boys are now the 8th and 9th AEW wrestlers scheduled for Triplemania this year, joining the Young Bucks, Andrade El Idolo, Rey Fenix, Pentagon Jr., Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti, who will all be appearing on the first Triplemania event of the year on April 30th. This will be the first time Jeff Hardy has wrestled for AAA, with it being his brother Matt's second outing for the promotion. He would represent Team USA at the Lucha Libre World Cup in 2015, falling short in the final of the tournament. This week, former multi-time women's champion Sasha Banks would take part in an interview with The Athletic, where she discussed her mental health struggles following the WrestleMania 35 event, leading to her to request her release from the company, a request that was ultimately rejected. Sasha discussed her battle with depression before taking time off to find herself, and she would say, "I felt so sad every day and I didn't know why. I had to take myself away from a situation and such a fast world where I had to stop and realize who Mercedes was and who Sasha Banks was. I had no time off, I never got to see myself, my family. I took that time to figure out what I loved besides wrestling." Banks would then see herself taking up a role in the Star Wars series The Mandalorian, something that would help balance out her wrestling career. She would reveal if she plans to do more acting in the future, before revealing that she hopes to become the female equivalent of The Rock and John Cena. In terms of wrestling, Sasha Banks is set to compete at this weekend's WrestleMania 38 event, where she would challenge for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles in a fatal 4-way tag match. Next up, we have some news regarding the future of free agents. According to Fightful Select, there is said to be significant interest in bringing Toni Storm into the promotion following her requested release from WWE at the end of December 2021. Several talents within the company expect Storm to end up in AEW sooner rather than later, with a number of wrestlers pushing for her to be brought in. As well as this, there is said to have been light talks for AEW to sign Athena, the former Ember Moon. Following her release in late November, there is said to have been a feeling out process between the two parties, although there has been no confirmation as to if she'll sign or not. The report notes that there didn't seem to be any sense of urgency to lock her down to a contract. Third and finally, there is also some notes on the status of fellow free agent Nixon Newell, who is the former Tegan Knox. Nixon hasn't wrestled since her WWE release in November, with her said to be dealing with some visa issues to allow her to work network in the United States. For those unaware, she was born in Wales in the United Kingdom. When inquiring about her status, Fightful found out that she's been very busy trying to sort out her visa situation, a battle many international talents have had to deal with following their release from WWE. There has been no mention of AEW being interested in signing Newell to a contract, although that doesn't necessarily mean they aren't. Perhaps news on her next destination will emerge once she has secured her visa. With AEW set to debut a mystery female competitor tonight on AEW Dynamite, it's possible that one of the three names will show up, but we'll talk more about that later in the video. Ahead of his reported match with Cody Rhodes this weekend at WrestleMania 38, Seth Rollins has continued to stir the pot. Speaking with Jimmy Traynor of Sports Illustrated this week, Rollins would discuss AEW and their wrestlers taking shots at WWE on television. He would start off by talking about his mention of Dean Ambrose, the now Jon Moxley, during his recent feud with Roman Reigns, calling it silly to pretend that he didn't exist due to their history in the Shield. Rollins would then compare this to what he called tacky and lowbrow shots from AEW stars towards WWE and said, "To me, it's one of those things where if it's very useful, it's fine. The references you spoke of, Rollins mentioning Moxley, CM Punk mentioning WWE, are two kind of different things. I didn't use the reference to Mox to talk down to somebody. I wasn't trying to diminish anybody's accomplishments. It wasn't like that. He's part of our story. Roman wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for Mox and I." The other side of that coin is the way that it can be used by those guys. They can do whatever they want. I find it very tacky and lowbrow personally. I think it looks and reeks of desperation. I don't think it's anything on our television show that we need to go there and talk down about those guys. I don't think it's anything on our television show that we need to go there and talk down about those guys. They are doing their thing, they're doing it very well, we're very happy for them. I am, at least personally. Are they on our level? No. They have a long way to go to catch up to us. That's fine and they know that. They do things differently. From my perspective, it's a step down for us to use it as an insult. That's my perspective. People may not share that opinion. Funnily enough, one of the AEW wrestlers most notorious for mentioning WWE is now reportedly set to be Rollins' opponent for this weekend's WrestleMania, that of course being Cody Rhodes. So in a way, I feel like this interview is somewhat of a promo to get AEW fans to be against Rollins, ultimately tuning in to see his match against Cody at Mania. But let me know what you think of Seth's comments in the comments down below. And before we get to our final story, let's go to a quick update on this weekend's WrestleMania. According to PW Insider, WWE are bringing Shane McMahon into Texas for Mania this weekend. There is currently no word on if they plan for him to appear on the show itself, although he will be in Dallas for the whole weekend. McMahon did return to WWE in the Men's Royal Rumble in January, but it was then revealed that he had significant heat backstage whilst working as a producer for the match. There was a feeling that he tried to book the Rumble around himself, as well as him allegedly treating his colleagues poorly backstage. Shane was then sent home with his WrestleMania match against Seth Rollins being scrapped. Fans are now speculating that Shane could end up being Seth's opponent once again, who is currently set to wrestle a yet-to-be confirmed talent. Perhaps this could be a distraction from his actual opponent Cody Rhodes, who is said to have signed with WWE and is set to surprise Seth at Mania. But do you think this is just a distraction to keep Cody's appearance more of a surprise? And do you think Shane being in attendance is all smoke and mirrors? Let me know in the comments down below. And finally, let's go to a story ahead of tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, as the promotion is said to have signed a huge new star. The show will see the Bunny compete in a qualifying match for the upcoming Owen Hart Cup female bracket, where they're set to take on a mystery opponent. Whilst it's unclear exactly who the opponent will be, AEW president Tony Khan would hype the match up on Twitter, stating that they have made a huge signing, and he would say, "It's Tuesday, you know what that means. AEW Dynamite tomorrow on TBS. It'll be a great Wrestling Wednesday. A huge new star signs in AEW and debuts versus the Bunny with the first spot in the Owen Hart Cup at stake. Plus, I'll be announcing big matches throughout the day. Thank you all." Speculation has continued to run wild over who the mystery opponent is, with many assuming that it could be linked to the signing of Toni Storm or Athena, as discussed earlier in the video. As well as those two, the free agency market is stacked full of talent, meaning there is several possibilities. Personally, my number one choice is Toni Storm, but let me know who you'd like to fill the spot in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 things that you didn't know about AEW's Hook.